You're listening to Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry Sanderson on Tide 100.9 in Tuscaloosa.
And that's the first win for the Jaguars under their new head coach, Major Applewhite, the former Texas quarterback. Yankees walk off with a 2-1 win over the Red Sox in 10 innings. They've got a 2-game lead on idle Baltimore in the AL East.
Inside the Locker Room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
And good morning and welcome into a Friday edition of Inside the Locker Room, 205-342-9904. If you want to jump in on with us this Friday, you want to give us a score prediction for the game this weekend. Alabama will take on Wisconsin on Fox at 11 o'clock, so that should be a good time. So we look forward to talking about the games and all the games this weekend with you throughout the show today. The X accounts at Locker Room 109, at Barry Sanderson, at Wimp Sanderson 1. Our email for our show is wimpandbarry@yahoo.com. We talk about the app. Download the Tide 100.9 app and put that on your smartphone, and you can take us with you anywhere you go. Of all the colors, yellow is the most important, at least when it comes to building outdoors. You want to build the 5-star backyard, the fence, the deck, the pergola. You want it to last, you want to use Yellowwood. Go to Pressure Treated Pine from Great Southern. Go to yellowwood.com to find the dealer closest to you. And always remember, guys, if it doesn't have that yellow tag on it, then you certainly don't want it. Good morning, Chase. Good morning, Dad. You guys doing all right this morning?
Well, we're doing okay. Blue Plate's coming up. Nobody's going to like this one this time, but we'll see what happens here a little bit later. I do want to say before I get started in this show that today's a special day. Sam, my dog, is her birthday, and she's 2 years old, and she is absolutely wonderful. So anyway, I all love my dogs. I got a very young dog, so that I will pass away before my dog, because I don't like to be around when my dog passes away. So that's what I wanted to tell you. South Alabama beat Northwestern, as it's already been mentioned. They scored 87 points like a basketball game, and beat Northwestern 87-10. Arizona State won against Texas State, which not much of a game there, 31-28. The Procure Championship at Napa, California, before they go on to Hawaii, is starting, and only one that you don't know about a little bit is Patton Kazire. He's 600, and the leader's 700. I hope Patton does well. He's almost been pretty good. He's struggled some, but I met him one time. He's a good person, so we'll see what happens there. Picking these teams for the Blue Plate has not been easy. I won't go over them now, but it's been pretty difficult. Bills got the Dolphins got hurt last night, got beat, and the Tua had his third concussion. You don't need those concussions; they're very, very dangerous to you. So we'll see what happens there. Outside of that, Barry may have some stuff that he wants to get y'all to argue about, but there's a couple of things I can't think of what they were. So welcome your calls. Jack Cole will be on. Start 7:30 hour. Hopefully Sonny will be on at 8:15, and we welcome your calls. That's about it.
Yeah, Tua just I know he had signed a big contract not too long ago. I think a lot of that money, I think I saw maybe $160 million is guaranteed. So I don't know. I just don't like people getting, talk about what he should or shouldn't do. You have no clue. That's not your people talk about that. Just let the doctors look at it. Let he and his wife and family get together, and that's strictly your decision. Nobody wants to hear your advice on what he should or shouldn't do. But I hate that for him. Wasn't really having a very good game, and I think he's probably trying to get an extra yard and kind of ironic that the kid that collapsed on the field, Hamlin, was part of the tackle there that caused Tua to go out. This DirecTV and ESPN thing, this is getting ridiculous at this point.
Ridiculous. We need to get everybody to drop out of that.
Yeah, it's just absolute. I mean, come on. At some point, we got to get this thing fixed. It's just you try to flip up and watch games. You got to flip back from different cable providers. And the reason I don't like YouTube TV is you can't just change channels. I like to be able to just change channels and flip around. And those you got to exit out of what you're watching, unless I just don't know how to use it. So I know everybody brags about YouTube TV, but I don't know. It's not what I'm used to, although it is a lot cheaper. But the thing still rolls on, so I don't know when that thing is going to ever get done. All right, Alabama will climb on a plane, I'm sure, early sometime today. The weather's not great here, so I'm sure they want to get out of here, make sure they get there and get in place. But Kalen DeBoer's first road game with Alabama. Everybody has all their different deals that they have them do on the road. But football's probably a little bit different. They get in there on Friday night, and he said they'll have some meetings and food and this. But with the early game the next morning, it'll be an early wake up. They'll have, I'm sure, breakfast and final meetings, and then it's time to head right over to the stadium. Do you prefer that, or do you like it where it's a little bit later game, maybe a night game? You're on the road, have a little bit more time to relax. But this is going to be a quick trip. They're going to get there, turn around and play at 11. This time it's 12, be 12, I guess, in Wisconsin, and then fly right back. Do you like the earlier starts when you're on the road, or do you like to have a little time at the hotel prior?
Well, I prefer afternoon myself. I think morning's okay. I just prefer afternoon. I don't prefer a night because I don't want to wait around all day worrying about the game. So in some cases in basketball, I was ready to play in the mornings, but I think probably afternoon was my best thing. So I kind of get myself settled in, the team settled in the game. So I don't really know the offensive line coach at Alabama, Chris. I can't ever pronounce his last name. Has said that hopefully the improvement of the offensive line will take place. Most of you know that they have the injury there, and that injury should be well by now. Hopefully they've got people in the right spots so that if they do have a pass rush, and I thought the pass rush was going to be a little bit tougher than some people say, so I probably was wrong. That people can block that pass rush, and that can get going pretty good. So when you're keen on one guy, you stop this one guy, you think it got a great chance to win if you're Wisconsin. You don't know anything about the second-string quarterback much, and the wideouts are good, but the quarterback's got to get the ball to him, and he's got to get the running game going, and so we'll see.
I'm not sure Wisconsin can play like South Florida. South Florida came after the quarterback. Really caused him some problems, to be quite honest with you. Well, how much do you take if you're Wisconsin? Do you take that South Florida film and look at some of the things that they did, maybe that caused Alabama problems, and try to implement, or do you just go with what you got? You can't really change at this point.
I think you do. I think you take the film and look at it. I think you look and say, you're saying to yourself, and your assistant coaches are saying, well, they played Alabama twice and played them pretty darn well, 1 or 2 points down in the third or fourth quarter. Let's take a look and see what they did on both sides of the ball. I know we don't have the same kind of personnel. Our personnel is as good or better than theirs is. So, yeah, I think you do. I think you study that film backwards, forwards and backwards, and really know exactly what they did and if you can implement that you do it the first of the week. You don't wait, of course, to do it now. You pretty much got your game plan in and what you're going to do, and you've done it all week based on, I would imagine you started looking at Alabama after you got through your game last Saturday if you're Wisconsin, and and probably have a meeting on Sunday, because this is a big deal for Wisconsin. A big deal for Alabama too, as you said, the first road game for the new coach, but really big game for Wisconsin, getting them to come to you. Wisconsin's coming back to Tuscaloosa next year, but you need to win that away game if you possibly can.
Yeah, I'm sure they spent a lot of time studying Alabama's personnel over the summer, then studying Kalen DeBoer in Washington because they brought the same system with them. So I'm sure they started way before Sunday. They had two winnable games there at the first, so this is what they're gearing towards. And Alabama did have some problems on the line, but those are the things that when you have a game and you have some issues, those are the things you really work on in practice to try to clean those mistakes up and fix the blocking assignments and get back to your fundamentals. So you try to improve on what you did poorly as well. So not only is Wisconsin trying to exploit it, but Alabama's trying to improve it as well. So, and sometimes other things will rear their head in these situations. Luke Fickell's a guy who went over from Cincinnati, has been a very successful coach, was very successful at Cincinnati. So they'll have a good game plan with Alabama coming in. I haven't watched a ton of Wisconsin. I'll just be curious about the team speed. Will the SEC speed run past a team like Wisconsin, which has normally not had as much speed as some of these faster teams here in the SEC.
Lions moved up to 16, B.
Yeah, 16. It's hovered. It opened around 14 and went up to 16 immediately and kind of stayed right there. It was kind of interesting. Last week, like the Auburn line was around 13.5, stayed there, and then boom, on Saturday it was down to 10 something. So I don't know what the odds makers knew or what was happening, but all the money evidently was pouring in one direction. So they dropped that line to 10 something to get some money in there on Cal.
Well, I have a feeling it's going to be a confusing year. I may be wrong. I just have that feeling. The games are not great; they're okay games. It's not the best Saturday of the year, but it's the LSU South Carolina game is a confusing game. I know what each team did and sort of why they did it. Surprise, yes. So it's going to be some confusing times. I think Vanderbilt's off to a 2-0 start. It was a good win against Virginia Tech. So it's going to be a little bit of a confusing year. People that gamble for a lot, bet a lot, they're going to have a hard time.
All right, we'll take the break here. We'll open the phone lines 205-342-9990. We'll have Jack Crow at the bottom of the hour. We always enjoy visiting with Coach Crow. 2 Men in a Truck. They're at 1330 Martin Road East. That's where you go pick up your boxes, your packing supplies, whatever you need in preparation for this move. Where it's local, out of town, out of state, no problem. Let the professionals handle it. They'll take great care of you and your stuff. 205-247-5050. That is 2 Men in a Truck. Movers who care.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Friday morning. Some 1,500 West Alabama residents are still without power this morning after yesterday's passage of Francine. That storm felled trees and power lines all across the region. At its height, 15,000 West Alabama residents lost power. More rain and tornado potential is in the forecast today east of a Fayette-Tuscaloosa-Marion line. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather. It's free all throughout the day. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We definitely have some wet streets on our hands, so drive with caution and, of course, reduce your speed in these areas. Now, if you're traveling on McFarland Boulevard, we do have a fender bender on the westbound lanes at Rose Boulevard. This is causing, in Northport, but this is causing some delays, slight ones, just in the immediate area.
For Fridays at the Free at Innisfree Irish Pub, 1925 University Boulevard, downtown. Come join Wyatt Fulton for lunch at Innisfree Irish Pub.
road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental-car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance.
If needed, our inpatient cancer care unit is right next door to DCH Regional Medical Center. Learn more at dchsystem.com/cancer.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Mostly cloudy. A few showers and thunderstorms are likely today and tonight. The high today 80, tonight's low 67. For tomorrow and Sunday, mostly cloudy, scattered to numerous showers and thunderstorms both days. Highs between 77 and 80. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Your home for Alabama Crimson Tide football. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Yellowwood, pressure 35 from Great Southern Wood. They bring you this 7 o'clock hour. If it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, you don't want it. To the Yellowwood hotline, get Philip in. Good morning, Philip.
Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. How you doing?
Good.
Okay.
Good. Let me get my list out. LeVar Arrington and Brady Quinn. I don't know if you guys ever listened to them in the morning. Did y'all hear them this morning?
No.
No, I did.
They've got a show that comes on while I'm driving up, and they talked a lot about Wisconsin and Alabama on their show today, when normally they're real pro-oriented. But LeVar and Brady both talked about Cap Randall Stadium, and both those guys agreed that it was the toughest venue that they played in their away games when they were in college. LeVar Arrington really said he really was impressed with it and said that it's going to be a tough environment tomorrow. He liked Alabama, but he said that's going to be a very tough environment, and they've got to be on point. He says it's going to be loud and crazy, and the offensive line can't make the same mistakes they made against South Florida.
Yeah, I wonder in a game like this, will the green sticker on the helmet and the coach being able to talk directly to the player? I'm sure it'll be you'll be able to hear, obviously, but and then he can get the message to the player instead of running it in hand signals and all those things. I'm curious to see how that. I hadn't really noticed it much. I guess you don't notice because you don't see the assistant coach talking to either the player on the defensive side or the offensive side, but probably. You know, sometimes you get in a frenzy like that and a guy's running in to give a play, or you get a bad signal or something. You can't get everybody in the right formations. You got to use hand signals. There's a lot that goes on to it. And so I do think it will be a great environment. If they could get off to a good start, then that place could be crazy. What you're hoping, if you're an Alabama fan, is those people are piling out of there at the end of the third quarter because you got such a big lead. But they got it, I ask you, Dad, if you're Luke Fickell and you look at it and you say, Alabama's going to out-talent us, so we got to do something to get this crowd into the game. Would you maybe try a trick play or something just to kind of catch Alabama off guard to kind of get that place into a frenzy, or would you just be basic?
I probably would not. I would go ahead and rely on my crowd, knowing they're going to be, I'd be animated myself as the head coach, my assistants too, to be fired up about it. But I don't know that I'd try anything on the field that's too tricky.
Yeah,
I would.
Philip.
Well, I said about a month or so ago that I had this game circled as the game that Ryan Williams really breaks out. I know he's had 2 pretty games already, but this one is a little bit different. Going to be on strange turf. A lot more people are going to be watching this game, and I think this could be a game where Ryan Williams becomes a much more well known across the nation. My impact guy tomorrow is a guy that may surprise you. We sort of showed him early last week and then got away from it. I think Caleb Odom is a guy to watch.
Now, you about to say something about Ryan?
Well, I just think Ryan Williams' ability to play is strictly based on the quarterback. It's strictly based on what Jalen Milroe can do. Ryan Williams can be open all day long if he can't get the ball to him. then he's just out there. So I think I think we have to think about it as we talk about it as a two-way street. The ability for the quarterback, which I'm going to be interested in asking Jack about things when he gets on here in a minute. But those wideouts were open at times in past games. Will the pass rush be such that Jalen has a hard time?
Yeah, I think you're right about as far like a guy like Ryan Williams, guys maybe the nation doesn't know. They're not watching the Western Kentucky or the South Florida game, but they'll all be tuned in because there's not a ton of big games this weekend. So everybody's going to be up and ready to watch Wisconsin and Alabama. So I think, these guys can make a name for themselves nationally as far as getting on All-American teams and all those things. There'll be another big games, but this will be the first time that the nation will kind of watch this Alabama team. And we've heard a lot about Ryan Williams, so he could really bust on the scene if he has a big game at Camp Randall.
That's right. Well, we got a good one tonight. I'll tell you guys that right now. We got a good football game tonight.
Which one?
Arizona at Kansas State.
How about last night? I didn't watch it, but because of but South Alabama scored, what was it, 87 points?
87.
On who?
Northwestern State out of Louisiana. The score was 87-10.
Yep.
Man.
87? I turned it on. I looked up and they were like 81-10. I was like, does that say 81? And I saw something, so they may have cut the fourth quarter down, not even, but anyway.
What did you see the high school score last week in Alabama? The kid, that Earl Henderson kid, his team lost, I think, in overtime, 88-80.
But South Alabama was 0-2, so Northwestern State has lost this year 62-28, and they played Prairie View. They lost 37-30. Maybe they had a lot of guys hurt, but South Alabama scored 87.
Well, they schedule again.
Alabama, you're trying to get them on the schedule.
We got some danger games tomorrow. LSU at South Carolina, that's danger. I think Oregon at Oregon State is danger for Oregon, and I think Notre Dame at Purdue is very dangerous.
Who do you think wins that South Carolina game?
Man, I'll tell you, I think it's a hard game to pick. I'll probably end up going with LSU, but it's just force of habit.
Yeah, the line was 7 yesterday. It's dropped to 6.5. Yeah, I've been wrong about South Carolina, so I think LSU will win, but I haven't been right about South Carolina yet, so that probably means the Gamecocks will win. So
I know one thing: Kirby will play it close to the vest tomorrow. He won't do anything. He'll just go into Kentucky and get a win, and it'll be something like 38-7, 38-9. It's not going to be a 63-10 game, I don't think, in Lexington. I think Kirby just plays it real vanilla.
Yeah. Going to be on ABC at 6:30. Thank you, Philip.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Have a great weekend.
All right. Yeah, I think Philip's right there. This game will be on Fox. It'll be all the eyes on this game. So, you can, I guess if Jalen Milroe went out and played unbelievable, you start hearing him maybe in Heisman talk. But it's way too early for any of that stuff. I think Quinn Ewers right now is the leader as far as right now out of the gate. But it's an opportunity for these guys to kind of make a name for themselves nationally, especially these young guys like Mbakwe and Ryan Williams when you're playing on a national network.
I think we always say this and don't mean it, just have something to say. But I do think that getting off to a good start in the morning is big. I just do. I just think that Alabama will feel better about themselves, and maybe Wisconsin will doubt themselves a little bit. And that doesn't guarantee what I say is going to happen, but I think it's going to be a hard game. I think 17 points is a lot of points.
I would, if I'm Wisconsin, I would do something, try to get the crowd into it. Or they're going to be into it, but maybe just because you remember Texas A&M, man, when Alabama went there, that place was in a frenzy, all day long. So I'm hoping that Alabama can handle that. That'll be something different for some of these guys. All right, we'll go ahead and take the break here. We'll get We'll get Coach Jack Crow in when we get back. You listen to Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We definitely have some wet streets on our hands, so drive with caution and, of course, reduce your speed in these areas. Now, if you're traveling on McFarland Boulevard, we do have a fender bender on the westbound lanes at Rose Boulevard. This is causing, in Northport, but this is causing some delays, slight ones, just in the immediate area.
Electrical sounds really customer friendly. How can I get in touch with y'all?
Just call or text us at 205-553-0958.
It's electric. Two-time state champion and two-time NIT champion, Barry Sanderson breaks down the latest in sports on Inside the Locker Room on Tide 100.9.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Yellowwood pressure treated pine from Great Southern. Go to yellowwood.com to find a dealer closest to you. All right, we'll get right to the Yellowwood hotline and bring in our favorite coach to break it down. Former head coach at Jacksonville State, obviously was offensive coordinator, Baylor, Arkansas, Clemson, Auburn. Coach Jack Crow. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Hey, Jack. Barry. How are you?
Good.
Wimp?
Good.
How y'all doing?
Go ahead, Matt.
I want to ask you this.
All right.
You're an offensive genius. What when you had a quarterback with the abilities of Milroe, and I'm not saying you did, but I think you did, what is the most difficult thing? I know the offensive line's got a block. I ain't stupid, but do you put in quick hitting stuff so that the defense can't get to you? What do you do to be more effective against probably a good pass rush?
Well, I did have one that was close to Milroe. His name was Ryan Perilous. You can remember him. He was the player of the game in the SEC championship game that won when he was at LSU before he came to me. And I you know, you got to give those guys like that some command of what happens on Saturday, and but really put them in, even no matter how good they are, you still got to put them in their best situations, and that's why I think having a new football coach. I know I went through this with Ryan. I got an NFL quarterback expert to come in there just so I could make the right assessment of him, and I mean, like how quick he got his feet set, and how quick the ball came out. You talk about the quick game, you know.
Yeah.
Is a quick game good for some guys? Is it better for us? You know, are there? I think one thing that's sort of been generally said is that the weaker part of his game, and I don't think he's got a weak game, Milroe, by any weakness in particular. There's no perfects. Is the intermediate stuff, and that's what it takes the longest to protect. You know, you can throw a deep ball that's going to end up 40 yards down the field because of when you launch it quicker than you can throw a 16-yard dig route. But the 16-yard dig route, I mean, you've got to have that guy coming out of the cut. You asked me what's the most important thing.
Yeah.
The most important thing is being able to anticipate your wide receivers, where they do not surprise you by taking one more step down, you know, before they come out of the cut. Or, you know, there's something about a connection between, no matter how good your quarterback is, that he's got to almost know where that quarterback's going before he goes there to be able to turn that ball loose, you know, with somebody about to hit him in the mouth. And if you stop the film, the guy hadn't even come out of the cut. And then in the NFL, you know, it's amazing if you were to stop it when the trigger is pulled by the quarterback, you're going, where is this ball going? And then when you see it on the very end of it, you say, oh, that's obvious. That was just really good timing. Well, there's a whole lot going on, particularly with the intermediate game. I think from Milroe, if you've just got the short game and you just got the deep game, people can scheme you and really put the pressure on you to throw the intermediate game. And I don't have any film, so I couldn't make that assessment right now. But with Ryan, it was a short game. I mean, he came out really quick, and he was really accurate. And I think it comes out quick from Milroe, and he's really accurate. Ryan had amazing courage. It got him beat up all the time because he would stand in there to the last moment without his feet getting nervous. I do see a little bit of Milroe at the very end of that intermediate game. You've got to be able to move 4 inches, maybe a little bit in the pocket. It's really minute what his feet have got to do back there. And I think when people that are rushing him realize, they'll start targeting, the inside rush more than the outside rush to get to him. So, I don't know. Do you need all that?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's got to throw it long, he's got to throw it intermediate, and he's got to throw it quick. Those 3 things.
Absolutely. And if all you got to do is stop the short one, you do that by pressing the receivers. If all you got to do to stop the long ones is play over the top enough so that becomes an inconsistency with the safeties. The great ones can wear you out with the intermediate game. Guys like Rodgers when he was at Green Bay. I mean, that's what you can't do all 3 of those. You just can't.
Coach, I know Alabama, obviously they play in wild environments everywhere they go. They're, that game's circled. Obviously going to Wisconsin, it's a different place. Alabama, I don't think any of these players on this current team have been to Wisconsin. I'm not sure if you've ever coached a game in the stadium up there at Camp Randall. Just your thoughts about the environment there and what Alabama will run into Saturday at 11 o'clock.
Well, I haven't been to Wisconsin, and for that matter, whenever, we have played Michigan or always been at a neutral site. So I really don't have a sense of what Big Ten environments are like other than what I see on television.
Right.
But it can't be worse than what you get going to Tennessee. I can tell you that. I don't care how. In fact, Bo Schembecker, he came to visit spring training when I was at Auburn, and he even admitted, he said, we think we're rabbing when it's Ohio State and Michigan, but it's not like what y'all got down here. I mean, he said it sitting right across from me in my office. So I took that to mean something. So I don't think there's any amount of disconcerting that can happen there. I think there are other issues, though. These guys got to get up, and their whole routine, and it's a morning, and you hadn't done that. I mean, it's just how does a team go through the year, and the first time they ever do something, how does a coach really know what's best for that group of players? Every team has a personality, and over time we could really see Nick's personality in the Alabama team. Okay, we don't know what the personality of this team is with this coach. Whenever you wake him up at 7 o'clock in the morning, probably 6:30. And have a pregame. So no, you wake them up at 5:30. Let me go back. And that's a different meeting. That's a whole lot different. I can tell you, I've had them. That's a whole lot different interface with your, with your team when you do that. And then you got a bus, and then you're just walking into just the uncertainty. I don't care where it is. If I were to be part of that, I would wake up that morning with a lot of questions. I really would. Like, where's the bus going to park? How far we got? It just, you start moving people around now. They have habits, and then things don't conform to their habits. It's a distraction. So Nick's players were almost, they were almost null and void to any distraction, really. But I would say this, there's a whole lot to learn about this Alabama team now. I don't think they're going to go undefeated. be 11-1, but what do we really know about the way this coach coaches and this person out of this team after a loss? I'll say if and when. You know, that was the one thing we knew about Nick. Buddy, don't catch him after a loss. You're fixing to get your ass beat.
Yeah.
And, you know, there was a way that was done, you know, and you know, this guy don't have a history of many losses.
No.
You know, and, you know, what if the game coming in behind the loss is, you know, it's not patty cake. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's somebody that can play. So, you know, it's going to be exciting to see something for the first time, and we really are looking at so much. You know, we got a lot to talk about, and there's a lot of things to decide about the personality of this team and how this coach really handles all the situations, you know.
Yep.
I had Tim asked me to ask you, were you surprised it took Alabama so long to throw a screen pass? I said, Jack may not even have seen the game. I have no idea.
I did. I did it screen pass? Did it take you? Is that a surprise to you, or was it what he said? Well, I'll be honest with you. The ways you manage the rush is the screen and the draw, and there are some people. I watch the Chiefs fairly regularly. I mean, in San Francisco, I just know the pattern of those two coaches. And Bobby was that way. His teams were that way. You know, I don't know what the rhythm of drawing screen has to do with this. I don't remember when he was at Washington, even though I didn't see him play very much. So, if you're going to control the rush, you better have one. And the other thing is, if you want to control the middle of the field, you better have a tight end. And, you know, those are elements to be seen.
Talking with Coach Jack Crow, going down to Auburn. You know, they were 13-point favorite. They lost to Cal. The quarterback didn't play well. I'm not sure that Hugh Freeze even really helped him in the media with some of the things that he said. I mean, you could say certain things to the media and certain things behind closed doors, but he came out and said that every call they made was good except for one. They just got to execute better. Well, I think that makes people even pile on Peyton Thorne more. Are you surprised how Hugh Freeze kind of handles maybe these press conferences and never really taking responsibility, kind of laying it at other people?
I went to an event last night that must have been 2,000 people there. It was the Blue Shoe Ball, which is the Mike Sly Foundation ball. And whenever I go somewhere, you know, believe me, there's a chance to talk about Auburn football about everywhere. I did everything I could to avoid having to. I mean, I'm probably not. I'll just tell you the truth of it, Barry. I was driving and I didn't know that 106.9 carried Gus's press conference Monday morning. And he started talking and I turned it off.
You said Gus, you meant Hugh Freeze.
I meant Hugh.
Yeah.
And you turned it off?
I just turned it off.
You didn't want any knowledge, so you wouldn't have to answer the question.
Wimp, I thought I heard excuses. I can't stand excuses.
That's what I don't understand.
That's what I thought I heard.
Yeah.
Push it off on somebody else.
Yeah. I don't know. I've just never seen successful head coaches, even though it may be somebody else's part, they take responsibility for it and they don't lay it at other people. With him, when it goes well at Cal, last year they scored, he said, well, I called that play. When they got beat in the bowl, well, I was recruiting. I wasn't part of the bowl preparation. And now he's the offensive coordinator. All the plays we called were good except for one. I don't know. I don't understand that line of thing? What does he think he's getting at?
You and I come from the same cloth, or cut from the same cloth.
Yeah.
So is your dad. So
yeah.
That ain't the way you do it. I just, the guy may win the national championship next year, but I can't relate to that personally. It's not the way I did it. It's not the way your dad did it. The people I came up with, and that's what comes right in behind that. Wimp, you know this. You start losing your damn players.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what we've seen happen with this team.
You sure do.
Yeah.
Maybe I got it wrong, and maybe that ain't gonna happen. I'm supposed to go to the Oklahoma game, except for the people that I told I'd go down there with, but there's going to be a box there, and there's going to be a bunch of people there. I'm dreading the hell out of it. I don't want to have this conversation.
I'm sorry I'm making you have it now. I apologize.
Well, I'm sorry I just said what I said, but I tell y'all, when y'all call me, you're in trouble. Because I do this like this is me and Wimp talking. Okay?
Mm-hmm. So, I understand. Go ahead.
Anyway, I'll get blown up, but maybe I need to separate myself from Auburn.
Well,
I got big business I do. It ain't got nothing to do with Auburn.
I think, and I need to say this because it's people's personalities, and it's kind of like I think when a guy jumps off sides a lot, when you fumble, you just fumble. You shouldn't fumble. But when a guy makes a mistake, I put it that way, makes a mistake, especially going off sides. I think when they fuss at him behind the line of the public. I think when this is not making a lot of sense.
Are you talking about Alabama?
Yeah, Alabama. I think when Coach was there, when Nick was there, you publicly saw him raising Cain with a guy who jumped off sides, or a guy. I'm not trying to pick on any player, or made mistake after mistake. I think this particular case, they don't do it like that. It's kind of like you said, how they're going to react after a loss.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's how they going to react after a guy somebody keeps doing things wrong, or if a guy fumbles 15 times, or 3 or 4 times. They react their way, which is the way that they have coached. Crap, he don't ever lose. So I guess he's doing it the right way.
You know what this all boils down to is how coaches communicate with the media, and how they communicate with the team, and how the two are vetted together.
Yeah,
I know. People accuse coaches. Well, God, that's just coach speak. Well, I don't know what that really means, but I think from my perspective, had I done it, that meant that some of us, Wimp, you were that way. No matter who we were talking to, if it was 100 media sitting out there, our brain was still talking to those players. And I guess that's what you call coach speak. And it takes a while not to be programmed. The player is the most important thing. Everything you say to everybody is really rooted in what you just said to that player, or how you were handling the situation with your player. And I think coaches have to be real careful about being media dark. And taking the fans' perspective on this, because he was talking about like a damn fan in some of the things he said, and don't start talking to fans. They're not going to love you as much. I mean, Nick's going through that right now. It's two different things, and let me tell you what, the player is the most important thing. The player is the most important thing. The player is the most important thing.
Yeah.
And there ain't second important. They're the only damn thing that's important.
Yeah.
If they know that, they will bust their ass for you.
I think it's just a different approach. Coach Saban used the media to send a message, and he always had a message that he wanted to get. Coach DeBoer give you basic things in the media, but I'm sure he's telling his team different things behind closed doors. I think Coach Saban was saying in front of the media what he was saying behind closed doors, but he was using the media. It's just a different way of doing it, right, Coach?
Well, yeah, but the thing about the players now is you used to control that narrative. Those kids are going to know every word you said in a press conference, on social media, within 3 seconds after it comes out of your mouth.
That's the truth.
And it's going to be amplified by 20 other people knowing what was said. Now, what's more important over time? Those other sources into their brain, that rat poison, as he used to call it, don't be sending that goddamn rat poison out there. Because, you know, every coach is in danger of losing his team every week. And I think in today's world, I mean, you're not going to be a media darling, but you better never forget who the hell you're. It ain't about the X's and O's. It's about the Willies and the Joes. Don't ever forget it.
Yeah, I would think the fans are even more riled up as far as the reaction to players on social media due to the NIL. Guys are getting, you know, that quarterback at Florida State, they paid a wad to get him, and he hasn't played very well so far.
And here's what we've done, too. The NIL, in principle, you know, when it first started, you know how they used sort of, I'll never forget, I saw this in writing, the running back at UT San Antonio. He was a really good running back. And I know this because I was helping Coach Clark, and we talked about this stuff all the time. It was basically between UAB and UTSA for a couple of years. And just a while back, and all of a sudden this guy's making $150,000. Well, Bill said, well, what's the basis of this? And what they did is a car dealership took his social media, put somebody to help him drive the number of social media, gave him a social media handler, and projected a number of people that they were going to connect their brand through him. Mm-hmm. And that's how they paid him. So NIL has driven these kids into social media.
Yeah.
That's how they think they earn their money, not on the field. They think they earn their money doing this stuff and having followers. And I can promise you that's the case.
Yeah.
And so what you've done is created this conduit of propaganda, basically, is what I'd call it, of the ability to create propaganda around what's really one of the most intimate relationships there is, other than a parent and child, is between a coach and a player. And with that propaganda, it's not as intimate as it used to be. So, anyway, that's, you know, I can say this from 50,000 feet because I ain't got nothing to do with this and hadn't in 10, 11 years. So, but I do think about it. I talked to Bill Clark last night. We went over here in the corner, talked about, you know, all this stuff. Bill's name's back out there to coach again. And anyway, we just talking.
The show is good. It's funny to me. When you were at Auburn, nobody even had the idea when y'all left there it was Pat Dye Field. I didn't even know it. I didn't even know it. I mean, I knew it because of Jimmy Rain, but Nick Saban Field we'll know for now till eternity. Stuff like that's interesting to me.
Well, you know, marketing is the same as it was back in those days. But you know, he's the best of all time. I'll also say that.
Yeah, he is good.
Yeah, I think he's probably earned it. He's done a good job with Game Day as well. So he's growing his brand even more. So, well, Coach, we appreciate you.
Thanks, Jack. I appreciate you taking my call. I appreciate it a lot.
I won't ask you more. I won't ask you any more Auburn questions. I learned my lesson.
I am going to probably have somebody turn their back on me today.
Well, I didn't ask you how you would defend Milroe. I was very careful. I asked you if you had a quarterback that, you know, what would happen? Would you do offensively? I didn't want to put you on the defensive side.
Well, let me tell you this. What you're going to find out. What you're going to find out if you see a lot of pressed wide receivers. You see this on the screen. If you're going to see a lot of pressed wide receivers, next thing you look to see how deep safety is, because you can take away the quick game, but the rest of it is where you start. Now, if you're intermediate, covering intermediate, and you're playing deep, you're not going to press because they're going to kill you in one of those two areas. So I would start off by saying you want to really figure out sort of how the game's being played. Factor in how much press coverage you see, and particularly on the slot. If they cover the slot, which really makes you vulnerable to the run, by the way, and how vertical, if they've got any vertical pass completed to the tight end, that changes the whole complexion about how you play Alabama.
Appreciate you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, man.
Appreciate it. Good.
Right,
That's good stuff.
Coach Jack.
I didn't understand all of it, but it was good.
Was he talking over your head?
Sometimes he does.
Yeah. All right, we'll take this top of the hour break. That 7 o'clock hour was brought to you by Yellowwood, pressure treated from Great Southern. If it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, you don't want it. You listen to Tide 100.9, 1230 AM, WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We are in the heart of your primetime traffic, and so far we're still looking good across the area. Now, I must say we had some earlier problems on McFarland right around Boone Road, and it looks like they've cleared that out of the way. Yep, they definitely have. And so you're pretty much good to go in the area now. Just your typical.
Or you can shop online at TuscaloosaCDJR.com. At Tuscaloosa Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, you pick it out and we'll work it out. Roll Tide.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Eddie Garcia.
Week 2 of the NFL season got underway with Thursday Night Football in Miami, where the Bills defeat the Dolphins 31-10. Buffalo running back James Cook had 3 touchdowns, 2 rushing and 1 receiving. Bills are 2-0 on the season. They've won 12 of the last 13 meetings against Miami, including 5 in a row. For the Dolphins, they dropped to 1-1. Their quarterback Tua Tagovailoa had a tough night, 3 interceptions, 1 return for a touchdown, but it got much worse in the third quarter when he ran for a first down, took a hit, and suffered his 3rd known concussion of his NFL career. His status going forward is unknown. College football, Arizona State rallied down 21-7 on the road, beat Texas State 31-28. Sun Devils are 3-0 on the season. South Alabama crushed Northwestern State 87-10. Jaguars get their...
And there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at VaxAssist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Mostly cloudy. A few showers and thunderstorms are likely today and tonight. The high today 80, tonight's low 67. For tomorrow and Sunday, mostly cloudy, scattered to numerous showers and thunderstorms both days. Highs between 77 and 80. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Inside the locker room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to the second hour of Inside the Locker Room. Allstate Insurance agent Andrew Kniffer will help kick off this 8 o'clock hour. He's out at 4705 McFarland Boulevard, Suite 3 over in Northport. You're looking for insurance, home, life, auto, whatever you need. Andrew and his staff are ready to take great care of you. 205-722-9201. You make the change like I did, and you will be very pleased. Allstate Insurance and Andrew Kniffer. All right, Dad, let's run. The phone lines are open, guys. 205-342-9904. We'll have Coach Sonny Smith join us here in just a few minutes. Real quick, going down these lines in these games this weekend.
Go down.
Fox will be Alabama, Wisconsin. The over-under on the game, we've talked about the line is 16, is 50.5 points there. So I don't know that Wisconsin's a very explosive offensive team. So I'm pretty sure they would. Of course, this team throws the ball more than most Wisconsin teams, which will stop the clock some. So if you're Wisconsin, would you run the ball a little bit more, maybe keep that clock running, try to shorten the game? But that 50.5 there, I don't know if that's high or low, but just your thoughts about that line.
I'd shorten the game.
Yeah.
I'd shorten the game best I could. I think shortening the game against a team as explosive as Alabama is can jump on you quick. And my pass rushers are going to be worn out if they do that. I don't know if they are or not, but I'd shorten the game if I could. If I felt like I could, that's the best way to play. That's what I'd do. I'd shorten it, no doubt about it.
All right, going on at the same time, so it's a 2 TV day, Chase. So you got on ABC, LSU 1-1. I really think that Coach needs this game. If he goes and drops this game to South Carolina, then I would say pretty much the playoff picture's gone for LSU. LSU's 6.5 point favorite. South Carolina looked bad against Old Dominion. Their defense was terrific up in Lexington, Kentucky. Nussmeier seems to be a good thrower. I heard somebody talk about LSU's offensive line yesterday, saying they had the best line in the country. JC said that. The line has gone down to 6.5. Any feel for this game? What do you see happening here?
Which one? Which one did you say?
LSU, South Carolina.
I think it's I couldn't figure the cotton picking thing out. It stayed at 7 for a long time. 6.5 now. I think South Carolina gets by it because of the home field advantage.
They cover the line or win the game?
I think they win the game. I don't know if they'll win the line or not. But
if they win the game, they're going to win the line.
Yeah,
they're getting 6.5 points.
Getting 6.5, yeah. So I would say I lean towards the home team a little bit.
I'd probably go LSU on that one. Boston. Go ahead.
Well, I just looking at these games, I thought one of the interesting non-conference games that when I was trying to find a blue plate was South Florida and Southern Miss. Really, I couldn't. Southern Miss won one, lost one, got beat pretty bad in the opening game. It's 11 points. Southern Miss gets 11 points against South Florida. I had said the other day I thought South Florida was a mini Tennessee. I played a lot like Tennessee, and I think they do. That was that was an interesting game for me. I thought another interesting game was a little bit Tulane and Oklahoma. Everybody got disgusted because Oklahoma only won by 2 against Houston. We know Houston supposedly is not very good. Tulane gets 13 against Oklahoma, and Oklahoma's at home, and I would imagine they spent a week trying to get their football team straightened out. So that was kind of an interesting game to me. I don't know for the people here that are interested in UAB, it dropped from 24 to 23.5. Arkansas is explosive. They do a good job on offense. Should have won the game. He's on the line. Had they won everything be fine. They lost it, and they're all mad and upset, Wiggly to get him fired. But I thought that was an interesting game. So we'll see.
I think the other game that's kind of interesting is Texas A&M and Florida. Obviously, they got A&M's not on any kind of hot seat. I think Florida coach really needs this game just to keep everybody off of him. It's at home. Can't drop 2 home games this early. A&M's a 3-point favorite in this game. I think this is a very important game for Billy Napier, just to kind of keep everything heading. And maybe if he drops this one, then I think the Boo Birds will really be all right. Let's get to the Yellowwood hotline. We'll get Tom in. Hey, Tom.
Hey, Barry. Good morning, Coach. How are y'all?
Good.
Oh, we're hanging in there.
Great. I saw where what's the kid's name from Tuscaloosa? He went to Auburn as a golfer, but he's up in second place in the tournament out west.
Yeah, that's Kazar.
Yeah, Patton Kazire.
He's 6 under and the leader's 7 under.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that he's playing well.
Yeah, he's a good player. He's done some commentary. He hadn't quite gotten over the hump to play in a lot of those things. He's pretty close.
What is it? Is it 1 win or 2 wins on tour?
I don't know. I didn't know he had 2 wins. I didn't know that. I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
he needs a win.
Yeah, he does. I don't know. It's kind of the tournament before they get to Hawaii, other place. They kind of start the season off, and that's not till, I guess, December, I guess.
The thing about this wraparound, I guess that's what they call it, the fall tour now, is if you win, you get all the perks that go with being a champion on PGA Tour. You're in the Masters, and you got your card for next year.
Yeah, I was sitting and looking here what Patton Kazire shot 66 yesterday. And he's tied for second, like you said, there. So tee off today at 10:26 this morning.
I heard him tell somebody one time, though, that, being from Tuscaloosa and a local golfer and everything, everybody wants to see him get qualified, for the Masters. That's what you pull for. That's kind of the sign that you made it in my book. And he told somebody that his ball trajectory was not conducive to the course at Augusta. Have you ever thought about that, Coach? You know anything about that kind of talk?
No, I don't. I didn't know he said that. I don't know what whether.
Duffner from Auburn.
I think one of the things that can be a very ineffective for you at Augusta is drawing the golf ball.
Right.
Think about 11. You got water. You've got an uphill. You've got 13, which is in the woods. If you draw it too much, not in the woods, but it's a hard, more difficult shot. It's not open to the pin. I have always thought that drawing the golf ball, not hooking it, nobody's going to hook it, but drawing it, having a draw, was a little bit more dangerous for you at Augusta than the other.
I think that he used Duffner as an example and said both of them had similar ball flight in their game, and it's a lower, like driving kind of a shot for them. Yeah. And Duffner never has been able to play Augusta very well because of that. He doesn't hit it way up in the air like JT and some of these, these youngsters that play now. They hit it a mile high and 300 yards.
Well, if you can draw it good, and stay out of there, because when you draw it, you got a lot of overspin on it, and it goes further. Guys that are older try to draw it. Most of them do. Try to draw it because of the distance, but on the course there, they don't really worry about distance. They hit it for a 13th birdie hole anyway. So it'll be interesting to see how Kazire does. Go ahead.
What's Coach Crow and Barry got against Hugh Freeze? They're trying to get him fired.
I don't know, Tom. I
think he just answered Barry's question.
I think you can tell that really bothers me that he does that. I just was not raised that way. I've been around sports all my life. I just don't. You're making whatever he's making, and I think he's got to take more responsibility. Do you not agree, Tom? You're kind of
I
like
agree.
us.
I'm on your side. I'm a little. The thing that's got me off on this is how public you have been of your criticism of Coach Freeze, and you generally are more reserved than that. But I mean, I don't disagree with what you're saying. I'm not saying it's not true. I agree with it. I think he could handle it a little bit. He started this last year, and you pointed that out with that crap. Oh, I was worried about recruiting. I wasn't trying to get the game. What coach admits to that?
Yeah,
I mean, don't you try to win every game you play in? Isn't that part of competition?
Yeah, I mean, he said it, so if he said it, then I critique it. So,
right,
but Tom, Dad always asking you for, advice and, things all the time. He leans, right. He really respects the things that you say.
Right.
He needs some help. Will you give him a blue plate? Just give him a couple games, 1 or 2 games that you're looking at.
Tom don't even keep up with the blue
Tom
plate.
keeps up with
Coach,
everything.
The only thing, the closest I come to the blue plate is I always try to figure out if Coach won or not.
Well,
I've been hot every day.
Let me answer that for you.
Let me tell you, all you boys, one thing, girls and boys and kids. None of you, all of you, 100% of you are not going to like the blue plate.
And he always says, well, if you don't like it, go the other way. Well, people have depended on him to pick that one winner. And he's struggling, and I was just hoping that maybe Tom
he won 11 times. He won 11 times last year.
What have you done for him?
Need to take a hike. The world's not.
Tom, eggs are expensive right now. I mean, we didn't
take
win
some of that
now.
money you won. To take those big time gamblers, they take some of that money they had last year and buy
their. You see the price of gas and your power bill and your water. Our power bill and water bill. I might sell my house. I can't live there no more. It's crazy.
It is high now. I tell you that right there. My wife keeps me out of the house. Let me go back to work.
Yeah. And this guy, you talk about what he did last year, but things are going. We need to win this year. We need to win.
Well, we just got started.
Well, we're talking about last year, so I won't get fired.
Well, I don't think Chuck's going to fire you. I think Chuck is.
Chuck's out at Wisconsin. He's already out there. He got his feet
up.
Is he? Yeah.
Who is?
Well, I did darn. No, I went all over Gulf Shores last week looking for him. He kept ducking me. I was looking for a golf game, and he kept ducking me.
Oh, did he?
No, I'm just joking. I wasn't looking for a golf game. Don't worry.
Yeah. All right, Tom, we appreciate you, my man. So
thank you. Y'all coming on today?
No help on the blue plate from Tom. So.
I'm no help. I'm sorry.
Just give me anything. You can't.
Ain't nobody gonna like it.
Well, I'm dumb. I said I'm John Q fan.
You can't be any worse than what he's doing. So just close your eyes.
Yeah, I can.
I couldn't find one this week.
You couldn't find one last week either, evidently. All right.
You want so much, you skip a break.
Chase asked me the other day, says he ever hit a game?
Don't do that.
Thank you, Tom. All right. That blue plate will be brought to you by Chuck Norwood when we ever get it done. The Remax of Gulf Shores, buying or selling. Chuck is your guy. I've been down at the beach there for over 33 years, so experience counts. Go to chucknorwood.com, 251-948-1212. I think Chuck's out there.
Yesterday's line?
Huh?
Can I take it at yesterday's line?
No, that's why I told you to do it on Thursday. You've changed everything. No,
I don't want to do it on Thursday. The line's changed.
It doesn't matter.
Yes, it does.
If you like the line where it is, that's where it is.
I'd rather do it on Friday. I got to study another day and ask questions.
You're studying too much. You're studying too much.
No, it's not.
You're studying too much.
I'm going to be a genius for it, so.
You're studying too much. All right, if he does hit one, it's going to explode, Chase. It's going to explode. You listen to Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. As Hurricane Francine continues to dump rain on the area, we definitely have ourselves some soggy streets, but traffic-wise, it's not too shabby. As a matter of fact, we're moving pretty smooth across the rest of the area, or most of the area. Lurleen Wallace, northbound lanes onto McFarland Boulevard.
Days a week. Located across from Sokol Park, the venue houses Finney's Pub, the second location of Rammer Jammers, and Liza's Sweet Shop. Visit VenueTuscaloosa.com to learn more.
Crimson Tide Today is presented on Tide 100.9, WTBC 1230 by BMW of Tuscaloosa. Online at BMWofTuscaloosa.com.
From the University of Alabama, this is Crimson Tide Today. It's a daily update on Bama sports, and it's brought to you by Guthrie's, America's original chicken finger restaurant and an official partner of the Alabama Crimson Tide. For franchise information, visit Guthrie'sChicken.com. Hello again, everybody. I'm Roger Hoover. As we get set for Saturday's game between Alabama and Wisconsin, here are some final thoughts from Crimson Tide head coach Kalen DeBoer.
I think it's just crazy how all of a sudden here we are week 3 already, and going on the road and excited to go do that. I think there's something special about, I know we love playing at Bryant-Denny. There's no doubt about that. The home field advantage is amazing, but I think there's something cool about going into another place and kind of locking arms or whatever the words are you want to use, and knowing it's you versus everyone there in that place, and looking forward to doing it with guys like this because they know what it takes, and it's not just what happens on Saturday; it's the work that they put in, everything they're doing here earlier in the week that will lead to what happens on game day.
I'll have more in a moment.
Guthrie's Golden Fried Chicken Fingers, an Alabama tailgate tradition. Founded in Haleyville, Alabama in 1965, Guthrie's has been a Bama fan favorite for years. From your hometown to college towns all around, Guthrie's is still serving the family's original Southern fried chicken recipe just like always, fresh, hot, and fast. Make Guthrie's Golden Fried Chicken Fingers the MVP of your next tailgate. Guthrie's, America's original chicken finger restaurant and now an official partner of the Alabama Crimson Tide. For franchise information, visit Guthrie'sChicken.com.
We've got you covered for Alabama football against Wisconsin on Saturday morning. Our radio airtime is 8 o'clock across the network, leading you up to 11 a.m. for the kickoff. You can listen on the Varsity Network app, across our radio network, as well as watch the Yay Alabama booth cam streaming live on all CTSN social media platforms. Crimson Tide Today is brought to you by Guthrie's. Crimson Tide Today is a production of the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Mostly cloudy. A few showers and thunderstorms are likely today and tonight. The high today 80, tonight's low 67. For tomorrow and Sunday, mostly cloudy, scattered to numerous showers and thunderstorms both days. Highs between 77 and 80. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Mr. SEC Tournament Wimp Sanderson gives you his excellent analysis every weekday on Inside the Locker Room, right here on Tide 100.9.
Tuscaloosa Toyota. Go to TuscaloosaToyota.com. Great website there. You can look at all the pre-owned inventory, the new inventory they have there on the lot. If you want to rent a Toyota, you want to rent that Toyota and drive to Wisconsin, you better leave now. I don't think you'll get there before the game starts, but you can order a part, whatever you need, all right there on the website, TuscaloosaToyota.com. We're swinging by Skyland Boulevard. See Justin, see David, and they will set you up and take great care of you. All right, no Sonny today, which is fine. We just won't pay him this month. Yeah, but we do have some Luke Fickell. Coach Fickell was at Ohio State for a long time as a defensive coordinator. He was the interim head coach in 2011, back as the co-DC and linebackers coach till 2016. Went to Cincinnati. Did a really good job at Cincinnati. In 2021, he was a Home Depot Coach of the Year. Just took the job last year at Wisconsin. Overall record of 74 and 31, 3-4 in bowl games. So he's coached in the Big Ten for a long time, and will be. I'm sure this is a game that he's had circled here. If you can knock off Alabama, that's a nice game to put on your resume. Look what it did for Hugh Freeze. So this is a big deal for Luke Fickell to have Alabama coming to Camp Randall tomorrow at 11 o'clock.
Boy, it sure is, and the home field advantage is going to be there. You can't practice the way that you need to practice in order to play a game like this, because they are excited to have a known team come in there, and they've got great fans, and it's going to be a home field advantage. No doubt about it. So Alabama's going to play well.
All right, let's hear a little bit. We won't hear all of Luke Fickell. He's at a press conference. We'll hear a little bit about Wisconsin and Coach Fickell here. So Chase, let's hear from Coach.
Well, I think just a recap wise of last week. Very similar to what I said after the game. I thought it was obviously a hard-fought game, but after watching, I do feel better about a lot of things. And defensively in particular, we played better than I actually thought. one series in the start of the second half was probably the one thing that jumps out. And then offensive, just efficiency. I think very efficient, created some big plays in the first half. Second half, I don't know. We weren't quite as efficient. We didn't create some big plays. I'm not saying we changed modes a little bit, but there were a lot of really good things to grow upon. And then actually, the last 6 minutes of the game got a lot of those other guys in the ball game, even though, it was still a ball game. But you got those young freshman running backs, got some of those young offensive linemen in the game to take some really good reps in some situations where we still needed to move the ball and, get some first downs and continue to run the clock. So as we move past that, we all know it's a big week, and this is something that was, told to me, I think, the day after I took the job. Not that I was looking at that in particular as the whole thing happened, but over a year and a half ago, this was something that was brought up, and not something I spent a whole lot of time thinking about until now. And so this is a great opportunity, and I think our guys are extremely excited. As we went into fall camp, these were the things that were in front of us, and we knew that. This is, kind of the start. Not that the first two games weren't the start of the season, but we knew that this was going to be the opportunity and the point in time when we really, really get to see where we are and who we are. And so that challenge is in front of us, and I think we're really excited about it.
Luke, you kind of talked about the players and this being a special week. Some coaches have the philosophy of, hey, every game's the same. Do you like the idea that your guys feel like, hey, this is a unique type special opportunity?
I mean, us as coaches like to try to say, hey, it was a routine. We do everything the same way, no matter what it is, the faceless, nameless opponent. The realities of those things is probably not true. Some of us can hide our heads and live under a rock like I do, but our guys understand. Our guys are much more aware. And so this was something that had been talked about since spring football, and not by me. I'm not like standing up there and say, hey, this is Alabama week in spring ball, and we're going to do this. And we work on the rivalry weeks. We talk about, the teams that we play historically. We don't talk about some of these games, but our guys are all aware of it. And so for them, it's been something that, just like me, it's been in the back of their heads, probably a little bit closer to the front of their heads too often. But it's something where I think they really do understand. Like, this is what makes college football, right? There's two things. College football is great, but rivalries and games like this is what really kind of separates college football from everything else.
Luke, you talked about the efficiency of the offense. In the red zone in particular, the passing game just hasn't quite clicked. As you look through it, I know every play is its own situation, but has there been a through line or something you can identify like this? There's
twofold. I mean, I think that, negative yardage plays in the red zone are really, they're a lot bigger than they are out in the middle of the field. And then the ability to kind of say, let it rip. And be a little bit more aggressive. And so there's a balance there. But I do think, Tyler, in some of those situations, there's some things where as we go back and watch that we can be more aggressive on. But I think so those twofold, being more aggressive, and then obviously you got to avoid the negative yardage plays. Everybody knows things get tighter down there. Things get, every inch is that much more difficult offensively, and defensively we know the same thing. So, I think all in all, the efficiency, red zone in particular in the second half, but I think it has a little bit more just with our aggressive nature. It's been not to say a concern, but we've been trying to say, hey, be smart with the football, in particular in the red zone. We had some errant, maybe ones in the first week that, you'd like to have back. They weren't touchdowns, but they were shots that you said, oh, that's probably not the time to be aggressive. And so we got to find that balance. Tyler's got to find that balance, but he's got to trust in himself and his ability to, there's going to be smaller windows.
Let's say, Luke, a former assistant of yours, is on the Alabama staff now with Colin. Is it, when it comes to preparation, are you worried just because he knows the defense schematically, or no one going up against the offense too?
No, I mean, sometimes too much, right? I mean, I think that there's a lot of things that they're doing defensively that look similar to some of the things that, I would probably recognize. But there's still, you can think too much. We've changed a bit defensively in some ways. Obviously, as Alex Grinch has come in, we've had some new set of eyes, and, in year two found the things that we think we do better with the type of guys that we have. But there's a knowledge on both sides. I think there's a knowledge that he has of playing against the offense every day. But I don't think there's something that's extreme. It's not like, hey, they're going to know every signal. They're going to know everything. We're going to have to go silent. We're going to have to go if they worry too much about those things, just like the reverse, if I, watch the defense and say, okay, I think I know exactly what they're doing, then sometimes you spend too much time instead of, really focus on the things that you need to be able to do to be successful and to win a football game. So, there's some balance to that, but, I don't think that there's something that's underlining that's going to have a greater impact on the game than the normal.
All right, we could get back to some more of that if we want to. That's Luke Fickell. The two things I want to ask you. One, you say we treat everybody the same every game. Come on, and he said, look, we're not stupid. We understand that we had two games and then Alabama coming in, and that is something that as they were working this summer, I'm sure they brought that as a staff that hey, we got a tremendous opportunity, and I'm sure they've been pouring over film. This is not just any game for Wisconsin. And
no, it really isn't. This is a game that Coach Fickell and his bunch can say they've taken a step forward if they can beat Alabama, and they'll be in the game. There's no doubt about it. 17-point favorite. I'm surprised it's that much, but they'll be ready to play, and they have the personnel to put the pressure on Milroe enough to be effective. I'm not sure. They've got to be good offensively too, and they're going against a little bit different kind of Alabama defense and the swarm defense that they haven't seen. And I don't know if it's they pretty much take away the pass in this defense as well that they have. So it should be a very interesting game. The crowd will be there at 8 o'clock in the morning, ready to go for a 12 o'clock game up there, and 11 for us. But it's going to be people really getting their team ready to play in the morning, because it'll be an exciting time to have somebody like Alabama come in there. And Alabama's got to get the offensive line straight. Injuries got to be corrected. They got to be able to throw the pass long or short or whatever, or quick or whatever they need to do there, as Jack mentioned. So it's going to be a heck of a game, I think.
And then Luke Fickell, he's been coach of the year at Cincinnati. Yeah. So, he's not some new guy that's trying to ignite his career. But if he can, like we said, we saw what it did for Hugh Freeze, knocking off Nick Saban in Alabama twice. This can be a great opportunity for Coach Fickell and his assistant coaches to kind of get on the map there if they can pull off a win like this. This carries a lot of weight across the country.
Yeah, it does. It shows everybody that Wisconsin football has arrived a little bit more than we think about it now. When we think of the Big Ten, of course, the first team we think about is Ohio State, and we go from there a little bit, not a whole lot, but Ohio State's the first thing we think of, and they sort of run the show up there. I guess you'd say Alabama comes close to running the show. Georgia's running it right now, so it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see you drop a non-conference game. It really, really puts a lot of pressure on you as far as the rest of the season is concerned. It just does. You're trying to get in those 12, and you drop a non-conference game. It doesn't mean you're not going to get in, but it puts a lot more pressure on you.
Colin Hitzler is here at Alabama. He's the co-defensive coordinator. He was with Luke Fickell at Cincinnati, was at Wisconsin in 2022. He'll know their deep, so that's what he was talking about. He says you can't put too much on it there, but that's got to be a little bit of a help for Alabama to have a guy in here that knows Coach Fickell, knows his tendencies. How much do you think Coach DeBoer and those guys relied on Coach Hitzler this week to get prepared for this game?
A bunch. I think a bunch. Now, I don't know if they've changed coaches up there besides him, or he knows the rest of the coach assistants, but I think based on just that one question you asked, I think a bunch. I think they'll be, both teams be well versed in what they need to do. You just got to do it. You cannot let the emotions of the game affect your play. You've got to be emotional, but not to the point that it affects your play. And I always talked about that when we were playing Auburn in basketball. You know, we got to be emotional, but we can't let the emotion. And I think Coach Saban did a really good job of explaining that, talking about that when they were playing somebody that maybe was a little bit bigger game in the minds of everybody than some others. You've got the emotion it's got to help you, not hurt you.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about Bryant Bank. We'll take the break. We'll get back. We'll get you to go ahead and talk about the games you considered.
Okay.
And then we'll have you go ahead and post that. We'll get that Blue Plate special
he ain't gonna like it.
Posted. He says we're not going to like it, Chase. So we'll see what happens there. But let's talk about Bryant Bank here, and then we'll take
Bryant Bank at 4 locations. We talk about that. We usually start off with that. We also talk about the locations in Birmingham. I was there yesterday. I had some money things that I needed to figure out, and they visited with me for a long time, and I appreciate it very much. That they didn't even the one here in Tuscaloosa, and we didn't even talk about us doing that on a radio show. But they're convenient for most people who listen to our show, and they'll be very, very helpful for you. They do a lot for the communities. They got the same area code, same zip code, same everything that you have when you walk in the door to trade with them. And I think that you'll find that not only your personal account, but your business account will be safe. People generally have 2 accounts, and the business account sometimes is something that people to look at to try to do something with, and they'll be very protective of you. So Bryant Bank is good people. They've been there since 2005, I believe I'm right, in Tuscaloosa, and they've done an excellent job. So I hope you'll go by there and tell them you heard on the side of the locker room.
Chase, do you know who John Prime is?
Who's that?
John Prime? You don't know who John Prime is?
I shouldn't have said something.
No, it's a singer.
He's terrible. He's good.
Dad thinks he's so good.
Well, he has a great.
What is your favorite song?
The Word.
Yesterday
they played it.
Do you know your favorite song?
No.
So you can't tell us one song he sings, but you love it.
I can't sing.
I was going to have you come back to break playing some of that music that might help him with his Blue Plate special.
They'll turn the radios off if he plays John
But they're going
Prime.
to hold on just to see who you pick. But it might, if you could, who do you like? Maybe we could come back with that music to try to help you get over the hump on this Blue Plate. Any particular music you want him to play?
No, he could play Hank Williams Jr.
Hank Williams Jr. All right. I'm not giving you much to work with here, Chase. I'm trying to help this Blue Plate. You're listening to Tide 100.9.
It needs some help.
It's their home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. My, oh my, we're doing mighty wonderful for this TGIF traffic-wise. Now the weather's still a little yuck, but it has not slowed down your commute. If you're traveling on Lurleen Wallace and McFarland Boulevard, great news to you. That is all wide open and just free-flowing. And speaking of
Alabama and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
For more from Tide 100.9, let's it fly! And there's it! Whoa! Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and SoundCloud.
Country music singers have always been a real close family. But lately some of my kinfolks have disowned a few others than me. I guess it's because
Let it play a little bit, Chase. Let it play.
Changed my direction. Lord, I guess I went and broke their family tradition. They get on me, want to know, Hank, why do you drink? Hank, why
They're drinking.
You like that?
They're drinking because these Blue Plates are driving them to drink.
That's a pretty good song right there.
That'll be the new walk-up music for the Blue Plate. Because they're drinking right now on the Blue Plate because That's the only way to get through the night.
I'm afraid you're right on this one. Anyway, I looked at the LSU South Carolina game, and I'm a South Carolina fan because Barry coached over there, and Scott played over there. But I didn't think the 7. It was just 7 yesterday. I didn't think that was enough. I wasn't sure about that. I was all confused. Tulane game at Oklahoma. I looked at it because Tulane got 13. And Oklahoma played poorly against Houston, and it was a 2-point game. And everybody's mad at Oklahoma, but they had a week to get ready to try to straighten it out. You know, locally, Arkansas is 24-point favorite against UAB. It dropped down to 23.5. I don't think UAB is real good, but I'm not sure about Arkansas. I think Arkansas is very, very good offensively. I don't think that would have been bad. I think that was been pretty good. I didn't take it. Utah was playing at Utah State. Utah is so much better than Utah State. It was 20, gone down to 17. You can tell I've looked at most of these. Auburn 28, too many, and I didn't like that. And I think college football is a quarterback's game. That's what I think. I think the quarterbacks win the games for them.
Or lose.
But I think basically speaking, it's a quarterback's game. So I'm thinking that what I'm doing is the right thing. I'll tell you another game. South Florida, I mentioned that earlier. South Florida only having to give 11 against Southern Miss is South Florida's a mini Tennessee, as I said. So I took Florida. I took Florida because DJ Leeway is going to play Lagway, and I think the second string quarterback is also very good. And I'm not sure they know which one to play, and I'm not sure that even though A&M is good defensively, they didn't know who to prepare for, had to prepare for both. I know that Lagway is a question mark because they were playing Stanford. I'm not knocking anything from Stanford, but Stanford's certainly not as good as some of the teams they play, and he was very, very good in that, and they're saying, well, it won't be good in the other, whatever. If he's not, then Graham can come in and play. Birch played well, I thought, and got beat. I think home field advantage, I still like that. I always have. I failed on it. I not being able to find something that just jumped out at me. I took Florida. Yesterday it was 4.5. Today it's 3. So we got to bite the bullet at 3, I guess.
Yeah, you could have had 4.5 yesterday.
Yeah, I understand. I know he's going to say that. So that's who I took.
All right, so he's taking the gate. This is a first. You're taking the points. Normally you take the favorite. You're taking the underdog. So take the Florida Gators plus 3 against Texas A&M. That game will be at 2:30 on ABC. Now it's too late, but we're going to go to the Yellowwood hotline and bring Abe in. Abe, I have been calling for you all week to call in to give him another pick.
Oh, take a hike.
Tulane pick last week, Abe. And he kept
Abe
ridiculing
wins one
you.
game, and you think he's
Abe is 1-1 on the show. So good morning, Abe. How are you?
Good morning. Hey, coaches like Hugh Freeze, he made a great pick. It's just the team messed it up, right? You did your study was good, your reasoning was good. It's the team screwed it up.
That's right.
Hugh Freeze he's beyond reproach.
That's right.
What was Coach's blue plate today?
I took Florida and 3.
Taking Florida plus 3.
Okay, well, you know what I like about that, Coach? What I like about that pick, here's the thing. If it gets into a dogfight, worst thing can happen is a push. See, even if the Aggies come down and kick a field goal, then you're still good. This is the push, right?
Yeah, but if he would have bet it yesterday, he would have gotten 4.5.
But I didn't bet it yesterday.
He had to wait, Abe. Abe, do you have a game you were going to suggest that he picked?
If I win, I don't know why, but, I jumped out at me was the Beavers. I think the Beavers are going to stay within 16 of the Ducks. The Ducks hadn't looked that great. And the Beavers, I think it's at Oregon State. So I got Oregon State plus 16, but I wanted to see what Coach picked. Now, let me ask y'all this. When I was studying the games last night, they still list Oregon State as Pac-12. And then I got to look dicking around on the computer, and then I found Washington State game. They still list them as Pac-12.
They are.
So is there a Pac-12 conference?
Well, they're going to bring these 4 teams and put them in those 2. I'm going to tell you something now. The Fresno States of this world, the teams that are going into the Pac-12, they got a bad name, but they got good teams.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. If whoever wins between Oregon State and Washington State, do they get into 12-team playoff?
No.
They might.
Because I heard the Power 5, whoever's the conference winners are automatic, right?
Only the Power 4. No, that's not, because you got to have so many teams to be considered for that. They don't have enough. But we're going to write that down. Oregon State, you're getting 16.5, Chase. We're going to see if maybe Abe will get hot, because you're 1-0, Abe.
Okay, now Barry, I want to tell this to Barry before I go, and I want Coach to hear this. Let me tell you this now, because you was in the hospital at UAB not long after I was, and one thing going to an Alabama football game will do is the exercise. And I'm telling you, I went to that game Saturday, and I'm going to tell you, I was stove up all day Sunday, all day Monday, and now I'm better. But I'm thinking, I won't.
Upper deck?
Well, did you exercise?
Heck yeah, I did, and I think all that gets the mud out of your heart, Coach.
Yeah. Well, how far did you walk, Abe?
3 miles. I figured it up. It's 3 miles. And, them spirals are perfect. You kind of give out, but, they're not straight up. They're slanted enough that, you can handle it. And then you go up through there. But I'm just saying, wasn't you talking about the other day you was wanting to take baby Max to a game and everything? And I was just saying, I would go just for that, just for the exercise.
There you go. All right, we got you down. I appreciate that, Abe. And also we got you down Oregon State plus 16.
Oh, he'll brag on you for a month.
I've been bragging on you this week, Abe. Been bragging on you. Thank you, sir.
Hey, Abe.
Yes, sir.
You know how to go to the restroom when there's a big crowd there at those games, don't you?
No, what you got?
I told Barry's son-in-law how to do it. If you about to die to go to the bathroom, go in the out door, not the in door.
Well, let me tell you this. My buddy that went to the game with me, every time he went to the concession stand, he come back with two beers. I said, dang, man, what they doing, having 2-for-1 special?
Go in the out. Don't stand in the line at the end. That's free advice, Abe. Thank you, sir. Okay. All right, we got to get to this last break. This is Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Go inside the Alabama Crimson Tide with the Gary Harris Show.
Fridays at the Free with the Gary Harris Show, 9 a.m. I'll be live at Innisfree Irish Pub on University Boulevard in Tuscaloosa, and we'll be rocking out the sports talk. We'll have our Bama football trivia contest giveaway presented by T-Town Menswear, T-Town Gallery, University Mall. Special guests, phone calls, a lot happening on Friday at 9 a.m. on the Gary Harris Show, so make sure and tune in at 9 a.m.
Catch the Gary Harris Show Monday through Friday, 9 to 11 a.m. on Tide 100.9 and Tide100.9.com.
Tide 100.9 Traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. My, oh my, we're doing mighty wonderful for this TGIF traffic-wise. Now the weather's still a little yuck, but it has not slowed down your commute. If you're traveling on Lurleen Wallace and McFarland Boulevard, great news to you. That is all wide open and just free-flowing. And
to save lives, the one-day hands-on driving school gives teens experience in car control through exercises that include emergency braking and skid recovery. Find a class near you at TireRack.com/survive.
road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental-car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance and
great prizes, signed merch while supplies last, and more. That's 50th Street McFarland on September the 16th. See the store for details and see you there.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Mostly cloudy. A few showers and thunderstorms are likely today and tonight. The high today 80, tonight's low 67. For tomorrow and Sunday, mostly cloudy, scattered to numerous showers and thunderstorms both days. Highs between 77 and 80. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Inside the locker room with Wimp and Barry on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
I've got a good one.
And the Blue Plate Special then brought to you by Chuck Norton, the Remax Realty down in Gulf Shore. So hopefully Chuck's he's up at Wisconsin. Hopefully he can fly back. He said if he loses, he may have to drive back, Chase. So he needs this victory. He needs this victory. So we will see. Anyway, so that's it for today's show. Gary is not in studio. Gary's the only guy I know that does a live remote when the place isn't open. I guess he's so big. If he were open, Chase, they'd have too many people come in there if they were open. So Gary does the live remote to a place that is not open. No, don't quite understand that. Chase, what is he doing? He's too big.
It's Gary. Gary getting ready for a big one today.
Yeah, Gary's getting ready. Maybe he's going to hang out. He just won't start. That's where he's going to eat lunch at Innisfree, which I hear is a great place.
Maybe some food.
He's already going to be there, so he'll already have the first seat when the show's over. So keep it locked in for the Gary Harris Show. I'm praying. Do I want the Blue Plate Special to hit or not? Because I like to pick on him about it. Do I want it to hit?
I can see that little green when you pick on him.
Hits this time, but if Abe hits and he doesn't hit again, then we're going to rely on Abe more next week. You listen to Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama sports. Have a great weekend, everybody.